Welcome back to Retire Well with Kevin Bucher and Pete Semenuk of Citizen Advisor Group. I'm your host, Spike Spangle, and hopefully you are getting yourself started on your own retirement checkpoint review. Today we're talking about all of the different changes today in financial services, what's going on. There's just so many different things in financial planning today that have changed so quickly in the last couple of years. Social Security. Let's talk about Social Security. Many Americans are taking it earlier than ever. Pete, again, I want to start with you. Sure. Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Are you agnostic about it? How do you feel about Social Security taken early?
Yeah, so we're certainly not agnostic about it because it really is. It's the cornerstone in one of the largest assets that most retirees in the United States are going to have, right? It's your biggest retirement asset. And our advisors aren't talking about it, right? We're not thinking about it. Well, we are as consumers thinking about it, but our advisors don't seem that anxious to give us real detailed and good advice on when to take it. And when we hear news personally that a lot of people are taking it early, we don't like to hear that, right? Because really, Social Security, taking it early at 62 for whatever reason you did that, you talked to your brother or a friend at work, right, or something like that, or maybe the news scared you, right? You were scared on the news or something. It's rarely the right decision to take it early. Now, I'm not saying you always have to wait till 70 or delay it as long as possible, but rarely is taking it early the right decision. So it's certainly not news that we personally like
and let's be honest about some fact. We're living longer than we ever have. The sooner you take it, you lock in that reduction for the rest of your entire life. It can also affect your spouse. Can you explain to me, Kevin, why it affects your spouse?
Yeah, for a married couple, and then sometimes it can even be when there's a divorce situation, and even an ex-spouse. Sure. There's survivor benefits that have to be considered. So maybe it's easiest to just kind of think of a client example and how this would actually affect a household. So just recently worked with a couple where there actually was about an 8-year age difference between the couple. So husband was 8 years older than his spouse. Husband also was the more primary earner in the household. So he has a higher Social Security benefit than his spouse. So in that situation, it's a pretty clear-cut example of how important the higher benefit is for the husband in this instance. Because if the husband lives to just his normal life expectancy, and let's just say that's 78 years old, well, if he started his Social Security at his retirement age, which was 64, he's taking a reduced amount. And if he only lived to 78, it wouldn't make sense for him to wait beyond that, because the break even, the math of Social Security, is basically going to tell us 80 to 81 is where the break even is. So he wouldn't have lived long enough. But because of how the survivor rules are structured, his spouse is 8 years younger. Her life expectancy does look better than his because of longevity in her family, her current health. So when husband is 78, 80, 81, wife is only 72, 73. And the way the survivor rules work, because her benefit is lower, if he were to pass away, she loses her lower benefit but takes over his. So it really just puts an emphasis on if husband doesn't take his benefit at 64, he delays in order to get a higher monthly amount for the rest of his life. It's not just his lifetime we have to worry about, it's the lifetime of his spouse.